So I've had a bunch of people ask me this question, so I thought, why don't I just go and answer this in a video, and then when anyone else asks this question, I can just send them a link to this, rather than having to give them the exact same answer that I give to everyone else. And that question is, how do I manage to upload 7 videos a week? How do you manage to find the time for that? How do you manage to, schedule stuff and everything like that? Basically, how do I manage my time when I'm uploading this much content? And I think the reason people ask me this is because they look at my content and they assume there's some level of effort that goes into it. And there obviously is, but it's not as much as you might think, but it obviously is still more than if I was, vlogging about my breakfast and about my lunch and about my dinner. If I made content like that, no one would be asking, hey, how do you manage to find time for that? They would see, okay, this content obviously takes basically no effort to make. There's no point asking about that. But it is nice to see that some people actually are noticing that I am putting in, more effort than I was putting in before. I hope that is paying off, and it seems like some people are actually noticing that. So one thing I do want to mention is I'm not doing this full time. I also have a day job, and I also go to uni. Now, this isn't me flexing about how much free time I have. I don't really have that much free time. I'm basically always doing something. I did want to mention that though, because you might think that if I upload 7 videos a week, I'm doing this full time. No, I'm not. I have other things that I'm doing as well. But to be completely honest, I don't think it's actually that difficult for me to manage my time like this. I kind of, like working long days because I enjoy everything I do. So it's not like, oh, I'm getting stressed because I did 5 hours of this thing and then another 3 hours of this and another 3 hours of this. That's not really that stressful for me because I enjoy everything I'm doing. Now, one thing I do want to mention is I'm spending about 25 hours a week on this channel if you take out things like social media interactions and commenting. If you add those in, I don't know how much time I spend on this channel, probably way too much. I spend way too much time looking through my comments. You probably know that I go through and at least read everything, but I reply to a lot of stuff as well. So I reckon with all of that stuff, it's pretty much full-time hours, but if you take it out, it's not full-time, but it is still a lot of time. So with my day job, the reason why I'm working that is basically for extra cash. So I can save more, I can invest in various things I want to invest in that I'm not going to say because it might get the video demonetized. I can buy gear for the channel. I can also just not worry about my bills. So with my channel, I'm pretty much at the point where I can just pay for my bills. I could quit my day job if I wanted to, but having that extra money there means I don't have to worry about it. My bills aren't that expensive anyway. I live in a share house with 2 other people, so all of my bills are split between 3 people, or all of my, house bills, so obviously the rent, electricity, water, and gas. They're split between 3 people, so all of those bills are super low. And just having that bit of extra money means I don't have to worry about bills. And that is just something I can take away that would be stressful if I did have to worry about it. So less stress is a good thing. Even though it is a bit more time, I do have to commit to something else. So what about uni then? So with uni, the way that I deal with this is I just get everything done on time. And the way I do this is I start everything the day it is released. I don't leave anything to the last minute. The second something comes out, I am grinding it out right at the start. I will get it done as early as possible because I don't want uni to be there stressing me out about other things. Get it done as soon as physically possible and then just not worry about it. And that's pretty much what I've been doing for the past year or so. Basically, just get everything done as soon as you physically can. I'm in my final semester right now, and as of the recording of this, we are in week 1. I am starting on the 2nd week of content because basically I finished all the week 1 stuff because, week 1 is never really anything that intense. It's just like, hey, this is the course. And that takes like 5 minutes to get through. So I'm starting on week 2 stuff so I can be ahead and not worry about it. So let's actually get back to, scheduling the videos and just scheduling my life in general. So how do I deal with this? The way I do this is I basically break it down into 2 parts. Now, I didn't really get that much into doing, scheduling that I'd write down until very recently. This is something that I only started maybe a couple of weeks ago, and honestly, it makes everything so much easier. So I mentioned that I have 2 parts. I have my day plan and I have my week plan. Now, this isn't super strict scheduling. I'm not like, okay, I need to be at this point at 9:15 and then at this point at 10:15. No, if I did that, that would be stressful. I don't have timestamps or date stamps or anything like that, unless it's super necessary. So for things like bills, assignment due dates, when I have to go to work, things like that. Anything else, I avoid timestamping because I don't like the idea of saying, this has to get done at this specific point. I'd rather say, okay, this has to be done today, get it done today at some point. So because we're talking about the day schedule, let's just start with that one. So what I'll usually do is every single day at the start of the day, I will write down everything that I need to get done. So this can even be like little things like housework, shopping, but then also channel related stuff like my podcast arrangements, assignments to work on, videos to record, things like this. Things that I need to get done on this specific day. And the reason why I do this is because I'm generally fairly forgetful. If I don't write something down or just have it, somewhere that I can easily see it, I'm probably going to forget about it until the last minute. And if I do that, obviously it's not going to get done. So make sure that I actually know what I need to get done right at the start of the day. And if I have everything written down like that, it is nice to see that, okay, I can check stuff off as I'm going. Okay, I got this podcast arranged, I got this assignment started, I went shopping, I got this housework done. As I'm going through the day, I can just check stuff off and say, okay, I'm making progress. It's not like just, trying to slog through everything, knowing you have to get stuff done, but not really knowing how much of it you've got done. If you write it all down and check it off as you're going, it will feel like you're actually making some progress, or at least that's how I feel. So what about the weekly schedule then? At the week level, I don't bother planning things like when I need to go to work and things like that. I leave that for the day schedule. So at the week level, what I do is I plan out what videos I'm going to record this week. So the way that I do that basically is I have a couple of categories that I go through. So I'll just show you what my categories actually look like. So if we go into my video notes and we go into my upcoming videos, as you can see in here, I've got a couple of categories. So we've got software, vlog, Vim, tutorials, and I might add some more in here just to break it down a bit more, but this generally works fairly well. So what I do is I go through my massive list of ideas. So if we go into the video ideas list, I've got a bunch of different categories in here. So let's say, look at, software showcase. There is 476 things in here, or we can go into, the Vim list, and there's a bunch of things in here as well. So basically what I do is I go through these categories and try to fill out the categories with videos that I want to fill in for them. So the way that I usually fill this out is for the software list, I'll usually have 2 to 3 videos. For the vlog section, usually it's going to be 1 to 2 videos. The Vim section, typically I try to just do 1 Vim video every week. Otherwise, there's too much Vim stuff then. And for tutorials, I will do 1 or 2. Now, these arrangements might change depending on whether there's any interesting news that comes out. So if, for example, there was the thing about the Linux kernel changing its line length, for example. With that one, I'm going to try to fit it in somewhere because that's something I actually want to talk about now. And usually that one's just going to go up the day after I record it, which isn't something I normally do. So when I normally record videos, typically I record and then a week later they actually go up on YouTube and go up on Library and other platforms like that. So I always maintain a week backlog before I actually go and upload stuff. So it's never like, okay, I need to record stuff and then upload it tomorrow. That's not something I like doing. I tried to do that for a while. And what I realized is occasionally I would run into days where I just wouldn't be able to actually, find anything to record, or I wouldn't have time to record and I wouldn't be able to upload anything. So if I maintain a week backlog, there's always something to actually go up. And the way that I decide what actually goes into this list, besides obviously, the numbers that I decided, basically it's whatever catches my interest. But before we get to that, I usually start with whatever any viewers suggest. In the past, I was kind of, just adding viewer suggestions to the list and then getting to it eventually. But what I've started doing recently is putting the viewer suggestions towards the top of the list and then, deciding on whether that's something I think is actually going to be good to cover on the channel. Sometimes there's really, really good suggestions. For example, Vim Fugitive. Then there's other times when there's not really a video that can be made about it. Sometimes it's something like, how do I install this package or something? And I'm like, okay, I know you're not really sure about how to do this, but I think that's not really going to be able to expand out to a video. I can't really make a 1-minute video. There's not really any point in doing that. I don't think anyone will watch that, and I don't really want to make that. That's not really the thing that I want to do. So the rest of the list is just filled out from that content list after I've done the viewer suggestions. And I usually try to fill this list out on Thursday or Friday every single week. Then the following days, what I'm doing is basically just messing around with everything on the list. So let's say if we go back to this list for just a moment, we have things like Talk, or we have Flame Shot, we have Castero. So basically what I'm doing for the following days until Sunday is I'm just messing around with this software basically. So I'll try to like mess around with Talk and then just decide, okay, well, what do I want to say about Talk? And then we can see the list of notes for Talk. Basically I've got the list of key bindings and like the dependencies, things like that. Basically things I want to say in the video. It's not exactly a script. It's sort of script-like, but it's not exactly a script in most places. Basically, it's just like a list of talking points I want to hit on, and then I'll bring those up in the actual video. Now, some videos when I'm planning them like this are more straightforward than others. So if I'm looking at, say, my vimrc, my BSPWM config, or, you know, some script that I wrote myself, usually those ones are very, very easy to actually write up. But some of them, you know, take a bit longer. So if I'm doing a more research-heavy one like, I don't know, how to do Linux partitioning or NPM permissions or even a distro review, things like that are going to take considerably more time than just like the things that I already really know a lot about. So from Thursday or Friday to Sunday, basically I'm just messing with this software and trying to do all of my notes for it. So what happens with the following week then? Basically what I do is on Monday and Tuesday, I record 3 videos. So right now I'm on Tuesday and this is my second video I'm recording for the day. So this is my 5th video I've recorded for the week. Now in the past, I would do 1 video every single day, but I realized the problem with that was I never had a weekend. Then I tried to do basically 5 days, and then I realized, well, if I do 5 days, if I miss one of the days, then I have to do an extra double day, and that's not really that fun. So why don't I just, you know, smash it out right at the start of the week, get 3 videos done on Monday, get 3 videos done on Tuesday, and then usually on Wednesday, I get the 7th video done. Sometimes it's later, depending on if I'm working or if I just did a 4-hour podcast that day, but usually I try to get that done on the Wednesday. And when I'm actually recording a video, I'm sort of bad at recording a video. This one, it's not that bad. I kind of managed to do it fairly well, at least I think I did. But normally I'll have tons and tons of retakes, and it ends up taking an hour to an hour and a half to actually record a 15 or a 20-minute video. Now, it shouldn't take that long. I'm just bad at speaking. And then when I get into the editing stage, depending on the sort of mistakes I make and the number of mistakes and the number of retakes, it usually takes anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes to actually edit the video to the point where I'm actually happy with it. Most of the editing I do is very light editing. It's basically just, you know, cutting out my breaks and cutting out mistakes I make and things like that. But it is still a bit of time I have to edit. The minimum time it's going to take is the length of the actual video. So obviously, if I make a 20-minute video, it's going to take at least 20 minutes to edit it. Usually, though, that would take around 40 to 60 minutes for the longer videos. Usually, the 30-minute ones are the ones where I don't really make that many mistakes. This one is probably going to be pretty easy to edit. As for the thumbnail and the title, I usually try to spend anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes on them. Now, you might be wondering, well, why do you spend so much time on the title and the thumbnail? That's because they are more important than the actual content. I don't like to say that. I hate that that's the case, but you will not click on a video if it doesn't have a good title or a good thumbnail. You have no idea if the video is actually good until you click on it, and that means the most important thing for me, besides actually making good content, is getting you to click on the video. That's why I usually spend that much time on it, and usually this time is bundled together. Usually it's not 15 to 30 minutes and then another 15 to 30 minutes. Usually they happen at the same time. I'll come up with something to put on the thumbnail and be like, oh, okay, that also works as a title. So it's not really that big of an extra time commitment. As for the podcast, usually I'll get this recorded anytime after Monday and Tuesday. I don't really like doing 3 videos plus a 2-hour plus podcast. That's not really something I'm a big fan of, because I would have already been recording for 3 hours and then do another 2 hours. Basically, speaking for 5 hours isn't actually fun. I don't know how streamers do it. They are crazy people, but that's not the life I want to live. I would much rather do it on a day where I either have 1 video, or even better, on the days that I have no videos whatsoever. And then for the podcast clips, they usually take like 20 to 30 minutes altogether. They're not really even that big of a time commitment. Basically, I will just find something while I'm actually talking that I want to actually clip, write down the timestamp, usually write down the timestamp, sometimes forget about it. But basically, it takes like 20 to 30 minutes to find what I want to clip out and then make the thumbnails and the titles. I don't put that much effort into the podcast clips. I probably should put more in there, but I'm kind of lazy with the podcast, and the podcast is something I do just because I like to have fun. So basically what all of this means is that by Wednesday or Thursday, I actually have no videos left to record. Obviously, I can start preparing for the next week, but I don't have to start doing that straight away. I can take a day off. I can go do some uni work. I can take a day off and go hiking up Mount Lofty, which I did the other weekend, or just really anything else that isn't actually related to the channel. Now, obviously, I still have to, do social media stuff every day, but that doesn't really take up that much time, and I can limit myself for that as much as I want. Usually, I'll go and respond to all the comments and chill out on the Discord for a while, and then usually go do some other stuff. It's not like I'm just always on social media for my content, and it's not like I'm always researching content either. I do a lot of research for my videos, especially the ones where I need to make sure I'm saying exactly what is correct, but it's not like I'm always working on stuff. Usually, it's smash everything out at the start of the week, do kind of spread out work for the rest of the week, and then just loop back over again. So what about things like my blogs and my vlogs that I upload on other platforms? So if you don't know, over on Minds and Read.cash, I upload some blogs, and then I also upload exclusive vlogs over to Library, and I guess they're also going on Instagram now, but whatever, they're on Instagram as well. So that content doesn't actually hit YouTube because that content isn't actually related to the main point of the channel. Usually it's some random other thing. I can't even say what it usually is most of the time because it's typically just whatever comes to my mind at the time. I don't actually have a schedule for that stuff. Basically, when I get an idea, I go and record or write it, and there's basically no editing on those. That sort of is the breakfast vlog thing, where I just record a thing, I go and upload it. Usually it's one take, and that doesn't actually take me that much effort. So the main channel stuff I do on YouTube, that is where most of my effort goes into it. Anything else, I kind of am pretty lax on what I do with those. I make the videos, I maybe do a little bit of editing, but I don't really do anywhere near as much as I do for the main channel stuff. One thing you might have noticed is throughout this video, I never mentioned anything like Trello boards or any of the other sort of task management things. When I write down the list of things that I want to do in the day, basically, this is what I do. So this is what happens when I wake up first thing in the morning. I open up my terminal, I open up Vim, I put some stuff in here, and then I save it into a file that I usually call something like today. So we'll call it today 1 just so I don't overwrite the other one. And that's what I do. That's all I do. I don't make a Trello board or anything like that. I think most of that stuff kind of, I guess you end up wasting time trying to make your board structured in a nice way when you might as well just stick it in just an editor and not waste time doing that. Actually go get some work done rather than trying to spend a bunch of time trying to, schedule your scheduling. I don't really think there's any point in trying to manage that stuff. You might as well just, do it in the most basic way possible that gets the work done and then actually go do some real work. But some people disagree with me. Some people think the Trello board thing actually is kind of useful. I've never found it useful though, so for me, I just do it this way. So hopefully that got the main point across. I know this video was probably a bit rambly. That's sort of what always happens when I do a vlog. I try to avoid it, but the vlogs just always sort of end up being a bit rambly. But I still think I got the main point across. Basically, I make sure that everything is planned ahead of when I need to do it. I get everything done early, and I make sure that I have a backlog. So if, say, I took a week off of YouTube for whatever reason, say I had some sort of injury, you guys wouldn't actually know until a week later when there actually wasn't any content. Which is nice for me, and basically it means that I don't have to stress about it. That's the big thing with what I'm doing here. I make sure that I don't have to stress about the content that I'm making or about really anything in my life. Eliminating stress is a good thing and is going to make it so you can focus more on the things that you want to focus on. Obviously, sometimes stress is a good thing where maybe you need to be stressed because you did wait to the end, but if you do put the effort in early and you make sure stuff gets done on time, you're going to eliminate the stress. And honestly, that's really the biggest thing I'd say about this. Basically, I do everything I can to eliminate stress from my life to make sure that I can focus on what I want to focus on. So I think that's pretty much everything for this video, but before I go, I want to thank my supporters. So a special thank you to Joachim, Craig, Nathan, Andrew, Montezar, Corbinian, P.E. Road, Tony, Donald, John, Spaghetti, Thais, and Zilva. If you want to go support the channel, there'll be some links down below, as well as my Amazon affiliate links where you can buy the gear I use in this channel, or anything else you want, and I'll get a small kickback for it. Also, go check out my podcast, that is Tech of a Tea, available on Library and YouTube, and a bunch of other platforms as well, and the audio version available wherever you're listening to audio podcasts. Also, go check out this channel if you're watching it on YouTube, on Library, BitChute, and a bunch of other platforms as well. And remember to go smash the like button and leave me a comment down below. And remember to subscribe and ding the little bell icon down below as well. I also, as I said earlier, make blogs on Minds and Read.cash. So if you like the super rambly videos, go check out the blog form of those as well, and they'll be linked down below. So I think that's pretty much everything for me, and I'm out.